Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. Welcome aboard, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Alistair Waters, Paul Fleming, Bridge MCP. Welcome aboard, Michael Rutnan. How are you doing, my dear friend? Let's see, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling a little bit better than yesterday. I think I'm getting better. But the bad thing is today, my daughter came down and did the test. She had scratchy throat. Now she has COVID. She is in her bed feeling horrendous. I just texted her and she said she is completely and entirely exhausted. So this thing continues to be real. This stuff continues to be real. She looked at me and she said a few days ago, I'm going to get it because, and she got it. So we're just hoping now. The wife is still testing negative. So we'll see how that works out. Ashley's in her bed, sleeping, trying to sleep. She's exhausted. Anyhow, Michael says, New York Times and ABC News, Japan former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe dies after being shot during campaign speech. Shinzo Abe, 67, was assassinated on Friday in the city of Nara. He served in the office longer than anyone. Yeah, he served 2 terms actually. Once 2006 to 2007, I believe, and then stepping down in 2020. An attack that stunned the nation. That some of the strictest gun law rules was a manual gun. One that was made by hand. Police at shooting scene arrested the shooter, a former member of Japan's Navy, on suspicion of murder. Police said he was responding calmly to questions and had admitted to attacking Abe, telling investigators he had plotted to kill him because he believed rumors about the former border's connection to certain organization that police did not identify. And you see, that is the issue. When you have all this flood of misinformation going on, it hurts people. It kills. Something that we apparently have a problem understanding, but there are some people that simply have no heart. Paul Fleming, welcome in from ATL, checking in. Michael Rudnin says, The Independent UK, Trump to blame for baby formula shortage formula. As part of the multinational trade agreement signed during Mr. Trump's final year in office, a new wave of red tape was added to the process of importing baby formula produced in Canada. One of the products specifically restricted by the trade agreement, tariffs on Canadian infant formula are high, around 17%, and that tariff is required under the USMCA to increase further if export reach a certain level. Biden's about to fix this and let baby formula from Canada come to our markets. The minutia of policy details rarely penetrates the right-wing bubble. I bet conservatives still gonna champion a problem their man created. Well, that's typical. And the last one from Michael says, USA Today, President Joe Biden signs executive order. And actually, I'm going to leave that one for Bridge MCP, who wrote about that as well. Paul Fleming says, Greg Abbott's pet border project is not being investigated by the DOJ. I think you mean it's now being investigated, where he's been sending all these people back to the border. Amazing, isn't it? Anyhow, Breach says, today, President Joe Biden signed an executive order protecting women's reproduction rights after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Be sure, executive orders are often limited in scope, and as powerful as the American presidency can be, Biden can't unilaterally snap his fingers and restore reproductive rights nationwide. The Department of Health and Human Services will expand access to abortion care through medication. The White House and Attorney General Merrick Garland office will convene private pro bono attorneys bar association and public interest organizations to encourage robust legal representation of patients, providers, and third parties lawfully seeking or offering reproductive health care services throughout the country. This apparently includes protection the right of travel out of state to seek reproductive care. The administration is prioritizing patient privacy, including taking new steps to prevent the transfer and sale of sensitive health data and blocking digital surveillance related to reproductive health care services. This will apparently include that. Okay, let's see what else we have here. This will apparently include enlisting the federal commission. Great, 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 great. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Bridge MCP says, "Hey, y'all." And she says, "Hi, peeps." We love us some Bridge. All right, Paul Fleming says, "Can someone please explain to me how black men running away from cops can be killed and white mass shooters get arrested with them doing the same?" Yeah, he was running too. To which I tell you, I had a thread on Twitter last night. A woman got very extremely pissed at me because of what I've been saying about the Constitution over the last few days. Because my contention is that the design of the Constitution is such that it gives whenever what I said in the thing that I said is people with ill content will probably not could actually use the Constitution as a weapon, and that is what they're doing, using the Constitution as a weapon. And if the reason why it hasn't been used before this way is because we didn't have people of largely as ill-contented as what we have with the Republican Party today. Today, the Republican Party, the one that's left of it, because all the good people have left the Republican Party, it's an evil institution. And they are using all the mechanics that the Constitution allowed itself to use to effect its evil. But anyway, so that was discussing that. She got mad at me, right? And then she turned the discussion about the Constitution into a discussion about CRT. Nothing, where did it come from? CRT? She said, it's a Mao Zedong, it's a Chinese thing to attack the government. All these kinds, So I looked at her and I said, okay, since you changed the subject, specifically what about CRT is wrong? She brought out Mao, etc., and she says she doesn't see race, all that good stuff. So I said, okay, please tell me what within CRT you don't like. Tell me what specifically is offending you. I don't see, but what is CRT teaching you that is incorrect? She couldn't answer the question. And that is where it's at. Until those who refuse to see things start to open their eyes, Paul, that you are able to see that guy who was running from cops, they purportedly said that he shot from his car, but somehow when he left the car running, he was gunless, but he shot from the car, right? Cops are the biggest liars bar none. They lie like no other. You look at their reports and you look at what happened, it never coincides. They are liars. They are bona fide practiced liars. And anyhow, cameras clean up a whole lot of that, right? Anyhow, but this guy's running and shooting 90 bullets and 60 of them hitting. Their shot accuracy ain't all that good, is it? But anyhow, 60 bullets hits this guy. The other guy was running after mass killing people. This guy, he's a proven mass killer. Proven mass killer. He's running from them in the car. Why is it that it never came to them that since he's already a mass killer, he may consider on his runaway from the cops taking out other people? So that would have been the opportune time, based on the police mentality, to take him out. Because he's a proven killer, he's on the run, most likely he wants to kill as he goes. But he doesn't get it. And everybody wants us to say, oh, but all is equal. I understand your pain, Paul Fleming. Sister Alistair Waters, hi all, heading out, so just going to be listening. Thank you for being here, Alistair. Love you for always being here and being a part of the posse. Michael Rudden says, something wrong with my internet. Restarting router. Good for you, buddy. Breach says, no, yeah, she's down with it. But, her mother just gave her a popsicle and she sent a little note, a little text saying, yes, she did. I'm devouring my popsicle. That means, I just love when she has something sweet to say like that, But no, she's tired as hell. She's been in bed all morning. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ashley, not good. She should get that drug. She's at risk. I'm going to check it out. We're still trying to get all our medical stuff down here in Texas. Let's see. Seriously, get the Pfizer antiviral cocktail for Ashley. I'll go ahead and look into that. I'll go ahead and look into that as soon as I get off the phone. Tom C., get well soon, Ashley. Pavlovic's recommended a sap. Okay, I will check it out. AC Rodriguez says, you will have to quarantine separately in order for it not to travel in the house if possible. She's in her room on the other side. I'm in the office. That's where I stay. I only move when I go to another room to use the bathroom. Linda has the whole downstairs and the thing. She just brings us food, etc., 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 with her double mask on. Don't know, my router crashed, restarted it, fixed the problem. I'm glad. Alistair Waters said, agreed with Tom C. Eric Hayes says, oh no, the Biden administration knew about the formula problem back in 2021 and did nothing, but it's Trump who started it, right? Ashley can't have that drug if she is on blood thinners. She's not on blood thinners. Breach MCP says, I know, but the doctor AAA, so she knows what to do. The wife might be high risk as well. Yeah, she's trying to stay away. We told her that she had to stay down. She only comes up to bring food and puts it in front of the door. Let's see what else. Michael Rudnin says, President Joe Biden executive order action is a necessary temporary measure to prevent women's prosecution and deaths until the situation with the PAC Supreme Court. All right, Paul says the Supreme Court is a clear and present danger to this country. Absolutely so. Maywood says, good afternoon, everybody. Feeling better, Egberto? I am getting better. I still have the cough. I still have if you notice, my eyes are still a little bit flush. Take seriously Heather Cox Richardson discussion, courts, West Virginia. EPA opinion in light of this work on Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization and its upcoming Moore versus Harper case. That's a dangerous one there. You're correct, sir. AC Rodriguez says, nah, not addressing the root cause of the problem, just puts a Band-Aid on the bullet wound. All right, British MCP says, Heather C. Rich is awesome. Bruce Pollard said, let's see if the gun was recently fired. Maybe never. Eric Hayes says, 170 dead due to oh, Lord. Eric Hayes is, I was going to say a word that I don't want to say, but, Eric sometimes have you guys ever know that my friends sometimes act like he's a bot? You answer a question, you fulfill you answer these questions specifically, and he just come back at you as if he's just a bot. Eric, what's wrong with you? Michael Rudnin says, the design of the Constitution had 4 major anti-democratic measures. I'm not going to read that one because I want you to hear how O'Donnell talks about it. Bruce says 70 tomorrow. You mean that's how high we're going to get tomorrow? That's crazy. Liberals are idiots. So, Egberto, are you saying that Obama failed at uniting the country? You can't unite something that doesn't want to be united. Plaxovic will tear your body up, but does help. Lee Grant says, Egberto, as you want to abolish a major government institution, the Supreme Court, and ignore parts of the foundational document, the Constitution, how is this not sedition or treason? No, we didn't say to do anything in a seditious or treasonous manner the way the Republicans do it. What we say is we do it the way the Constitution itself allows us to do it. And that is, 1, win the election to prevent electors from being appointed by non-democratic means, and 2, add more Supreme Court justices to ensure that the justices that were stolen by a minority of the Republican Party not to be successful. That's how we take care of that. AC Rodriguez, is O'Rourke, liberals are idiots. Is O'Rourke going to unite Texas like Obama and America? No, he'll unite those who want to be united, those who want to continue their evil ways will continue their evil ways. Peggy Lopez says, when my daughter quarantined in her home, she stayed in her room and used an antibiotic spray on her food tray before she closed the door on it so no germs traveled on the tray. Yeah, my wife have been wiping down stuff. Bray says, I hope so. Their liberals are idiots with the handle I know, or you are sarcastic. All right, Bruce Fowler says, 70 is the number of times I've gone around the sun. Oh! Are you getting there, Bruce? Oh, my God. We got to remember, folks, that tomorrow is Brother Bruce Pollard birthday. So we are going to have to sing him a great happy birthday tomorrow. 70 years. Bruce, brother, we are getting old, brother. All right. Paul Fleming says, every time Republicans mention killings by gun, I'll say check states' policy and buying guns. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. The first thing I want to do is what Bridge spoke about or talked about. Let's go ahead and play President Biden's speech today, because he really let the Supreme Court have it. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Now, with the Vice President, Secretary Becerra, and Deputy Attorney General Monaco, I want to talk about an executive order I'm signing to protect reproductive rights of women. In the aftermath of the Supreme Court's terrible, extreme, and I think so totally wrong-headed decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. In both formalized actions I announced right after the decision, as well as adding new measures today. Let's be clear about something from the very start. This was not a decision driven by the Constitution. Let me say it again. This was not a decision driven by the Constitution. And despite what those justices in the majority said, this was not a decision driven by history. You've all probably had a chance to read the decisions and the dissent. The majority rattles off laws from the 19th century to support the idea that Roe was a historic anomaly because states outlawed abortion in the 1880s toward the end. But that's just wrong. The truth is, today's Supreme Court majority that is playing fast and loose with the facts. Even 150 years ago, the common law and many state laws did not criminalize abortion early in pregnancy, which is very similar to the viability line drawn by Roe. But the Dobbs majority ignores that fact. And the Dobbs majority ignores that many laws are enacted to protect women at the time when they were dying from unsafe abortions. This is the horrific reality that Roe sought to end. The practice of medicine should not be frozen in the 19th century. So what happened? The dissenting opinion says as clear as you can possibly say it. And here's the quote. Neither law nor facts nor attitudes have provided any new reason to reach a different result than Roe and Casey did. And has changed, and all that's changed is this court, end of quote. All that's changed is this court. That wasn't about the Constitution or the law. It was about a deep, long-seating antipathy toward Roe and the broader right to privacy. As the justice wrote in their dissent, and I quote, the majority has overruled Roe and Casey for one and only one reason, because it has always despised them, and now it has the votes to discard them, end of quote. So what we're witnessing wasn't a constitutional judgment. It was an exercise in raw political power. On the day the Dobbs decision came down, I immediately announced what I would do, but I also made it clear, based on the reasoning of the court, there is no constitutional right to choose. The only way to fulfill and restore that right for women in this country is by voting, by exercising the power at the ballot box. Let me explain. We need 2 additional pro-choice senators and a pro-choice House to codify Roe as federal law. Your vote can make that a reality. I know it's frustrating, and it made a lot of people very angry, but the truth is this. And it's not just me saying it. It's what the court said. When you read the decision, the court has made clear it will not protect the rights of women. Period. After having made the decision based on a reading of a document that was frozen in time in the 1860s, when women didn't even have the right to vote. The court now practically dares the women of America to go to the ballot box and restore the very rights they've just taken away. One of the most extraordinary parts of the decision, in my view, is the majority writes, and I quote, women, it's a quote now from the majority, women are not without electoral or political power. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power. That's another way of saying that you, the women of America, can determine the outcome of this issue. I don't think the court, or for that matter, the Republicans who for decades have pushed the extreme agenda, have a clue about the power of American women. But they're about to find out, in my view. It's my hope and strong belief that women will in fact turn out in record numbers to reclaim the rights that have taken from them by the court. And let me be clear, while I wish it had not come to this, this is the fastest route available. I'm just stating a basic fundamental notion. The fastest way to restore Roe is to pass a national law codifying Roe, which I will sign immediately upon its passage at my desk. And we can't wait. Extreme Republican governors, extreme Republican state legislators, and Republican extremists in the Congress overall, all of them have not only fought to take away our rights, but they're now determined to go as far as they can. Now, the most extreme Republican governors and state legislators have taken the court's decision as a green light to impose some of the harshest and most restrictive laws seen in this country in a long time. These are the laws that not only put women's lives at risk, these are the laws that will cost lives. What we're witnessing is a giant step backwards in much of our country. Already the bans are in effect in 13 states. 12 additional states are likely to ban choice in the coming weeks. And in a number of these states, the laws are so extreme, they've raised the threat of criminal penalties for doctors and healthcare providers. They're so extreme that many don't allow for exceptions, even for rape or incest. Let me say that again. Some of the states don't allow for exceptions for rape or incest. This isn't some imagined horror. It's already happening. Just last week, it was reported that a 10-year-old girl was a rape victim in Ohio. 10 years old. And she was forced to have to travel out of the state to Indiana to seek to terminate the presidency and maybe save her life. That's last part is my judgment. 10 years old. 10 years old. Raped, 6 weeks pregnant, already traumatized, was forced to travel to another state. Imagine being that little girl. I'm serious. Just imagine being that little girl, 10 years old. Does anyone believe that it's Ohio's majority view that that should not be able to be dealt with? Or in any other state in the nation? A 10-year-old girl should be forced to give birth to a rapist's child? I can tell you what I don't. I can't think of anything that's much more extreme. The court's decision has already been received by Republicans in Congress as a green light to go further and pass a national ban. A national ban. Remember what they're saying? They're saying there's no right to privacy, so therefore it's not protected by the Constitution. So it's left up to the states and the Congress what they want to do. And now my Republican friends are talking about getting the Congress to pass a national ban in the extreme positions that they're taking in some of these states. That will mean the right to choose will be illegal nationwide if in fact they succeed. But let me tell you something. As long as I'm president, it won't happen because I'll veto it. So the choice is clear. If you want to change the circumstances for women and even little girls in this country, please go out and vote. When tens of millions of women vote this year, they won't be alone. Millions and millions of men will be taking up the fight alongside them to restore the right to choose. and the broader right to privacy in this nation, which they denied existed. And the challenge from the court to the American women and men, this is a nation. The challenge is go out and vote. Well, for God's sake, there's an election in November. Vote, 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 vote. Consider the challenge accepted, court. But in the meantime, I'm signing this important executive order.
We spend a lot. I love that. He uses it and says, go out there and vote. Take back your country. Take back the evil. Make sure the evil affected by Republicans right now doesn't materialize. Okay. Let's see what else we have here now. Thank you. We're checking out on the Paxlovid, Tom C. Thank you for the advice. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going down, scrolling. Take seriously health. I took that. I saw that. All right. The design of I wrote that. I talk about Bruce and he's 70 years old. Okay. 70 is the number of times I have gone around the sun. So say you, brother. Okay. All right. Paul Fleming says, every time Republicans mention killings by guns, I'll say check state's policy on buying guns. All right. Peggy Lopez says, 10th Amendment. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, or reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. People are federal. Exactly. Jim Shiners, welcome aboard, says, how can we impeach a Supreme Court justice? It's sort of like impeaching the president. You have to get enough senators. I think it's either 3/4 or 3/5. I don't remember what the amount is. I have 167 senators to do it, which would make it what? 67 is what? 3/5, right? That's how you do it. But right now, we don't, the country is so undemocratically designed that even though 67% of people want that, 2/3, thank you, Michael, 2/3 is the number, 67. And that's what 67 actually is, 2/3. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Jim AVQ says, Jim Snyder, it's harder to impeach a justice than it is to add more justices. Exactly. We can simply add justices by getting rid of the filibuster and putting them onto the court, which is what we need to do. AC Rodriguez says, Eric Hayes, that just proves my point. If they're a criminal that deserves to be locked up for violent crime, which is an indicator of future behavior, then they should be kept in custody and not let out until their sentence is done. People for money only takes bail bond companies' money. If someone has enough money, they can get out, which is proven over and over again. Over and over again. All right. Bruce says, could Biden, after a presidential pardon to any person who suffers from persecution from these overbearing laws? No. Actually, pardons, Biden can only pardon somebody from federal crimes. Pardons for state crimes must occur at the state level. So, pardons don't work, again, federal pardons, it doesn't give you pardon in the states as I understand it. So I don't think he has the power to do that. Paul Fleming says, replying to Eric Hayes, if they don't have access to guns, killing go down. It's called common sense. And actually, just look at Japan, all these other places. They don't have the crime rate that we have with guns at all. Bridge MCP says, biologically, men cannot breastfeed. That's true. All right. Let's see. We have Paul Fleming says, if you can't tell me how you would keep guns out of career criminals' hands, then stop mentioning the problem. Thank you. Because the gun manufacturers wants it in anybody's hands. Dan Marks and I go back for a long time. We were working on changing the Constitution. First, we were talking about the 28th Amendment. But Brother Dan Marks, in our days when we were in Washington, D.C., and I think where we met also at the Democracy Convention in Madison, Wisconsin, I believe, we meet all over the place when we're doing when we're doing our activism. Meet a lot of these guys all over the place. Dan Marks was one of the good guys. Hey, Egberto, you are mostly right. The coup already took place. The fight is over. Now they're just killing the wounded enemy laying on the battlefield. The Constitution you knew is gone. You know, we've been discussing this constitutional issue for decades now. And myself with Brother Marks here, we've talked about it a lot. We've been going back and forth between myself, Move to Amend, and Dan Marks and his organization. We've been trying to see what's better, to adding the 28th Amendment and modifying, or actually having a full-fledged constitutional convention. While I used to be scared of the constitutional convention, Dan Marks was always into using Article 5 convention. I hear you, Dan. You are starting to sound better and better, Brother Marks. You're starting to sound better and better, Brother Marks. Bridge MCP says, out for him. Let's see what else we got here. Dan Marks says, and an Article 5 convention won't even work now. Independent state legislature doctrine will mess it up. Oh, God, you're taking away all our options, Dan. This is where we have to fight from the electoral point of view now. That's what you're saying. Only electorally can we get anything done. Only electorally can we get anything done. You're absolutely... Well, I don't know if you're going to agree with what I just said, but I think right now we are stuck at electoral. That's where we're stuck. Anyhow, let's see. Peggy Lopez says, Biden makes me wonder if this civil war is pitting women against men. No, it's not women against men. Most men support what women want. Most women support what women want. It's a minority in this country who are causing the issues. Bruce says, vote harder once the right wing has gerrymandered the country, made it illegal to bring water to someone in a voting. We got to hit hard. Maywood says, frankly, I think we need to put out explicitly the right to personal privacy into the Constitution, and I agree. Eric Hayes says Paul Fleming is the bot. Nope, I think you're the bot, Eric. I mean, you act like a bot. I don't think you're a bot. AVQ says, Dan Marks, every generation fears doing a constitutional convention because the opposition will write in harmful amendments that will... Actually, it's not... When you're doing a constitutional convention, when you have... Uh-oh, she has a fever now, 101.7. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, folks, when you're actually going to a constitutional convention, what goes on at that point is that you rewrite the Constitution. It's not about amendments or all that sort of stuff. It's about rewriting the Constitution. All right, let's see what else we got here. AC Rodriguez says, replying to Dan, let's see, Dan Marks, hard to mess things up more than they are now. Money corrupting politics, no universal health care, insufficient environment. Oh, yes. Dan Marks says fear led to inaction. Inaction led to the demise of democracy. Let's not completely give up yet. Let's not completely give up. AVK, the supermajority is so poor they don't pay federal taxes. Yep. Dan Marks says true that. And what it's time for me to do now is to play How We Got Here by playing El Señor O'Donnell. Lawrence O'Donnell today touched a subject that I've been talking about for over and over and over again. But again, he expresses it in a much more macabre form. Because whereas I looked at it as simply anti-democratic for some to use power, he takes it a little bit further. I want you to listen to this, and then let's take it on the other side. But it has to do with the origins of the Constitution and whether we ever really wanted all to have equal rights under the law. Check this out.
The founders' obsession to avoid all things British in government led them to the creation of the most grotesque institution ever imposed on a so-called democracy, the Electoral College. The only reason to worry about the fairness of the next presidential election is the Electoral College. Without the Electoral College, no problem. The Electoral College is one of the founders' many crimes against democracy. Other crimes against democracy by the founders include 2 senators per state, not allowing anyone other than a small percentage of white men to vote, and not allowing anyone to vote for United States senators. The founders were experimenters in democracy, not true believers in democracy. They were dabblers in democracy. Many of their obstacles to democracy that they put in the Constitution have been removed. Women are now allowed to vote. Black people are allowed to vote. Everyone now at least has the right to vote, the theoretical right to vote, while Republicans continue to try to make that right more difficult to exercise. But the unmovable roadblock to democracy in our presidential elections is the Electoral College, something that does not exist in any other country on the planet. Republicans have completely given up the hope of ever winning more votes for president than the Democratic candidate. It's been 18 years since the Republican candidate for president won more votes than the Democratic candidate for president. Democratic candidates for president now routinely win millions more votes than the Republican. And so the only hope for the Republican to win, as we saw in 2016, was to somehow win the Electoral College. Prior to the year 2000, every winning candidate for president won the most votes and won the Electoral College. And so the Electoral College was mostly just a theoretical factor lurking in the background of presidential campaigns. Now, the Electoral College is everything. Joe Biden won Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes in the last election. Donald Trump won those 20 electoral votes 4 years earlier. And now Donald Trump has a plan to win Pennsylvania's electoral votes again. And this time, Donald Trump won't have to win the most votes in Pennsylvania to win Pennsylvania's electoral votes because, as we heard on this program last night from Harvard Law professor and former Republican Solicitor General Charles Fried, the radical majority on the Supreme Court may be participating in what he called a slow-motion coup d'etat. The radical majority on the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case that could allow state legislatures to choose the electors for the Electoral College, no matter which candidate gets the most votes in that state. Pennsylvania is one of the states where that could happen, and the Republican nominee for governor wants it to happen. The Republican nominee for governor, State Senator Doug Mastriano, was plotting with Rudy Giuliani to try to figure out how to give Donald Trump Pennsylvania's electoral votes last time, even though Joe Biden won the most votes in Pennsylvania. It was legally impossible to do. The Supreme Court might just decide, though, that even though the Pennsylvania legislature has passed a law like all other legislatures, delegating their authority to name electors to the voters who choose the electors through the voting process, that same legislature can then simply decide to seize the power back to name electors at any time without passing a new law. The Supreme Court might give them that power. And if the Republican candidate for governor wins in November in Pennsylvania, he will help them do that. And we may be sitting here in 2024 watching presidential election in Pennsylvania being stolen, while it is also being stolen in other swing states with Republican legislatures, and the coup d'etat will be complete and it will be televised. And the day that happens, the United States of America, as we know it, ceases to exist. That is what's on the ballot in November in the state where the United States of America was created. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was the place where the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. 11 years later, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Constitution of the United States of America was written and agreed to by the then 13 states. The place where the United States was born may be the place where it dies. Nothing less than that is on the ballot in Pennsylvania in November of this year, and in other states that could elect Republican governors and Republican legislatures who are already plotting to steal the next presidential election because the Electoral College allows them to steal it.
So as you can see, the GOP win in state races or federal races, that creates a clear and present danger to our democracy. You know, I've been writing about this for several years now, and it's ironic that just a couple days ago, I put out a newsletter on the Constitution as well. Look, the reason we had the Powell Manifesto that tries to make people less intelligent It's so that they don't understand the genesis of our country. They don't understand. And in a part of the newsletter, I wrote the following. I said that we were able to maintain a democracy because we had good people that were serving. The problem with the Constitution is it does not protect us against ill-willed people who gain power. What it does allow is if ill-gained people attain power, there are institutional reasons within the Constitution that can be used for them to hold on to power. And that is what the Republicans are doing, from packing the Supreme Court as they've done to using the governorship and the electoral college as they can. Again, these are all constitutional things. The constitutional construct was one that allows its own demise, the own demise of a democratic country that they thought, or a democratic republic that they thought they had founded. But then again, is it really not the protection of some the reason why it was written that way? Ask yourself that question. All right, folks, let me go ahead and do my ask before, and then I'm going to come and we'll go through all those messages, those great messages that you have coming through. So let's go do my ask, and then I'll be right back. Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody, so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. Politics Done Right depends on you. All right, folks, and remember, we are heading to Netroots Nation 2022. All of this is going to be up. We are going to be discussing all of this at Netroots, and I'll be talking to politicians and activists and all the other guys. So please remember to support our GoFundMe for going to Pittsburgh, PA in August. It's politicsdoneright.com/netroots. politicsdoneright.com/netroots. Netroots is spelled, well, you guys know how to spell Netroots. Please go ahead and support us. We need your support to continue to do this work. As you can see, it is getting very, very serious now. Going back to, let's see, Egberto. That fever isn't good, a bit high for her situation. I know she knows, but maybe time for intervention. I just, while I played the video, I just went and gave her some Tylenol for the fever, and we're going to, we're checking in on what you guys suggested as far as the Paxlovid. It's hard. Look, everybody's getting sick right now, and it's hard to really, really, really get in, but we're doing our best right now. Let's see. It's not time for the emergency room yet. She says she's feeling very good, but she just have that high fever. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, did I put 107? No. It's 101. I'm sorry. It's not 107. It's 101. Where did I put 107 in there? Oh my God, if I put 107, that was crazy. No, no, no. It's 101, folks. It's 101. It's 101. I'm sorry if I put 107. Um, it's 101. All right. Let's see what else we got here. They also do not feature such a gross disparity between the rich and the poor. Jim Sky said, I am sick and tired of two different justice systems in this country. It just needs to stop. Dan Marks says it's really bleak. I know Dan Marks is really concerned. Again, like I said, we go back a long time trying to go ahead. And David Page, welcome aboard. Dan Marks says, give us 60 Democrats and we still don't get the job done. That's because we get 60 Democrats. We don't get 60 progressives. What we need are 60 progressives. That's what you want to say, Dan Marks. Any nation that places such undue importance on military murderous strength should expect such awful outbursts. It might makes right for the country. How can it not? Absolutely so. What else have I got here? David Pesek, Berto's on fire. Thank you, sir. Let's see what else we got here. Sydney says, notice how parliamentary systems work so much better than the rigid structure established by our constitution. At least in the UK, can get rid of birds. Okay, Berto, there's a 13th Circuit Court of Appeals. Democrats could make the Supreme Court have 13 justices. There you go. AC Rodriguez says, that's not AC. Dan Mark says, yo, that's right. Hannah Banana says, whisk stop election fraud today. Wisconsin, oh boy, you guys are really eating the cake. Mike C6 says, Eric Hayes, you are forgetting. These folks here only watch DNC news that totally ignore all the problems we are talking about. Actually, I think you guys only look at the wrong news. That's the problem. Move, 28th Amendment, getting big money out of politics. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we got here. Jim Schneider says, I'm sick and tired of two different justice systems. I read that one. Paul Fleming says, I'm really tired of people saying the Congress can't get anything done. If you vote in people for the people, then things will get done. Exactly. Dan Mark says, we can vote, but will our votes be advisory to the legislature? That is what we have to make sure doesn't happen. Egberto, please read, allow me to retort. Let's see where you have that. Allow me to retort. I only have that in one place. Egberto, please read, allow me to retort by Elie Mistal about our constitution. Actually, I read bits and pieces of it. Yes, I read bits and pieces of it. He really hit it pretty hard. Sister Jan says, so much stupidity packed in an hour. What, Sister Jan? Please stop looking in the mirror, Sister Jan. Look on our screen, not in the mirror. Dan Mark says, our electoral power is getting hijacked right now and the SCOTUS about to approve it. Yes. It's not 107, Dan Marks. It's 101.7. All right. My mistake, if that's what I wrote. All right, let's see. Correct. Article 5 is amendments only. Cons can rewrite. Right. Constitutional convention can rewrite. Yes. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Michael Rudden says, oh, hey, I watched that video already. The three most anti-democratic aspects of our nation's government are the Supreme Court, the Senate, and the Electoral College. We need to unpack the court. I agree. Egberto, that fever isn't good. A bit high. Again, I put the wrong temperature. It's 101. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting you guys concerned and scared. I would have been scared. I would have gotten off of this show right away. The Electoral College was established for two reasons: to provide out of the elites to save an election that went against them in popular vote. That's a shame, but that's what it was there for. That's one of the reasons. And the other one is to support the power of slave states. Exactly. Lee Grant says, progressives and the like seem to think that they can say democracy enough times. People will forget the country is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. It's a representative republic, which means it's a democracy, okay? Dan Marks, people will figure it out sooner or later. The Constitution doesn't mean that we thought it did anymore. Exactly. Yep, May and now a fever. All right, let's see. Robert Davenport says, can we block people who are spreading venom? You know, again, we just have to make sure that what we do is right. All right, Julie Henderson says, we all know politicians and judges are bought and sold. Breach says, Dan Mark says, what they stopped is being made legal soon. Very true. Very true. All right, continuing. We have, let's see, let me get the sensible comments here. Denmark says, correct, it's a constitutional coup. And Breed says, why, Michael? He won't read Medicine to the Dead. I think I know what that means. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Michael Running says, Tank Murdoch, voter fraud is a myth, a solution to a different real problem, voter suppression, especially for minorities who disproportionately vote their IDs. Tom C says, Lee Grant, fact check. USA is both a democracy and a republic. As a democracy, we the people hold ultimate political power. We are not a direct democracy, but we are a representative democracy. Thank you very much, Tom C. I tell you, I got the smartest people in the world. And let's see what else we have here. Mark says, the only real hope is a citizens' convention. Power is derived from the people. Their power is an illusion when it is challenged. That's an extra constitutional solution. Wow, the messages keep coming. All right, let's see what we got here. BGMCP, thank you for cluing in Tank Murdoch. Lee Grant says, I hear more of the right wing described as extremists because they are. What percent of the country are we up with all these extremists? About, more than 10% right now. Let's see. Yes, it's 101, Breach. 101. How can one man be so dumb? I guess that's me. I guess I'm dumb. Okay. Eric Hayes, Egberto, Kingwood urgent cure for plaque subvid. I'll look into that. Thank you, Eric. Tom C says, if elections don't matter, then the people need to take to the streets in a, whatever that word is, surround the Capitol and Supreme Court banging pots and pans until we hear unfair laws change. I like that. 60 progressives could save us. Exactly, Dan. Exactly. And 66 really could. Yeah, the 60 is a break kit. Norman says we need 51 Democrats and remove the filibuster. I agree. Dave Smith, but there's still some constitutional hurdles that require 67, and that is to impeach. All right, let's see what else we got here. Japan, 10 people shot. In Japan, 10 people shot. In our country, 692 deaths. In Japan, 1. In America, it's a shame, isn't it? All right, let me tell you, folks, we have to get serious. Americans are still sleepwalking. Americans are still not seeing exactly what is occurring. It is time for us to get serious about the Constitution. It's about time for us to get serious about what Republicans are doing to us. One more time, I'm going to be shutting down a bit early today. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/support to support us however you can. Please support our trip to Netroots Nation by supporting our GoFundMe at Netroots. Please find it at politicsdoneright.com/netroots. politicsdoneright.com/netroots. We simply cannot do this without you. Now I have to go take off and start doing some research into getting my daughter some medicine. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll keep you posted. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.